Alright, it's Monday morning, and I had a couple questions, a couple comments on a previous video. How does this guitar compare to this one? How does this one compare to that one? Blah, 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 blah. So, we're going to do pretty in-depth D-18 comparison today. This is the Sunburst Tone Quest Report guitar that was in a previous video. We are going to compare it to a D-18 1939 authentic age, so that we can kind of get a couple people want to know, how does it compare to the age? How does this one compare to the authentic? So we're going to compare it to an authentic. And I had another question about how does this compare to a pre-war. Well, I don't have a pre-war sitting around here, but the authentic hints that direction. I have previously compared a 37 authentic with an actual 1937 D-18. Not on video, but back in the old days when I used to record these things on a digital recorder. And I actually had, that one time I had two pre-wars and one authentic. And a Collings, a varnish guitar. Anyway, so I've already compared authentics to pre-wars, and you know, they're a long step in that direction. The one thing you can just never get is the age sound. And it's also worth noting, of course, that every pre-war is different. Every guitar is different. But especially back in the days when things were handmade much more, you get variations in scalloping and variations in neck size and variations in this and that. And I've had 37, 36, 37, 38, and 39 D-18s all sitting together, and 41, and they were so vastly different from each other in some cases that it's like it's almost useless to talk about pre-war because there's so much variation between them. But anyway, we're going to compare this guitar to the 39 D-18 authentic. Then we're going to take the non-scalloped one that's sitting over there, which has all the same modifications as this one does except the scalloping. We're going to compare it to a stock 1969, which should have the big bridge plate, the heavy Grovers, non-scallop bracing, totally stock. We're going to compare that to a stock 69. And then we're going to compare the non-scalloped one to a 1965 D-21, so that you can hear what two more similar non-scallop braces sound like. In other words, I know it's a D-21, it's Brazilian rosewood and all that, but it also has a maple bridge plate, it has a lightweight tuners, it has things that are more comparable. In other words, the reason for the 65 is because it is a bright, nasally guitar, whereas I don't think the 69 is. I think that you'll see some differences there that are probably due to the bridge play and things like that. And again, you know, this is not a statistical test of one factor. This is more like a MANOVA. This is a multivariate analysis here, and what you're looking at is this complete total package versus this complete total package. And what kind of things do you hear in similar, what kind of things do you hear differently. And of course, I know how, having done this thousands of times, I can say, yeah, if you do this modification to this guitar, it's going to move it this direction closer, or it's going to move it this direction. And that's just the purpose. The purpose is what kind of sound do you like on this overall package. And then my job is, of course, to move the guitar that direction. Okay? So let's start with this one. I forgot what year this is. 76, mid-70s. It has all the modifications to it. Right? Yes. Here we go. these are my observations between these two guitars here. First of all, this one plays better. The neck profile is so much better for my hands. The nut spacing is mine. Just when I play this Sunburst one here, it just fits my hands so well. Now the 39 is not bad, and I used to have a 39, and the reason I sold it is because of the neck shape, and because I started playing. I had a 70s. I had another 70s here that was just absolutely magic for my hands, and I got out my calipers and I measured them to find the differences. And to my absolute astonishment, they were exactly the same on the width, all the way up and down the neck, and the depth, all the way up and down the neck, exactly the same, as close as I could measure. And I was astonished. And the difference was in the profile of the neck. The 39, and I felt this immediately when I picked this guitar up today, the 39 has got this pyramid-shaped thing like this. It's a C-shaped neck, and it's got a definite hump right here where my thumb is. And you can see on this age model where they've got fake induced wear right here. And it's fake right now, but I guarantee if I own this guitar in a year, that would be real finish wear right there, because my thumb rubs on that. So I immediately, when I picked this guitar up, that neck is not quite as comfortable. And it didn't take long for it to, to adapt to it, but my first reaction was, this is not the same neck as this one. And then once I started playing it, it definitely felt a little, took just a minute to get used to. I'm not going to say it's odd or bad or anything like that, because it actually is a really nice neck. But I noticed the difference in feel right away. So that's one thing. Sound-wise, man, I'm going to leave that for you guys. But you've got an Adirondack spruce top here. You've got a T-bar. You've got Martin scallop braces, which I don't scallop any of mine as much as Martin does. So these are a heavier scallop, and it's hide glue construction. You've got quite a few differences, and you got a long saddle too. You've got quite a few differences in here, and it's astonishing how close the 70s can get, and in some ways better. It's better. I think I like the 70s better in two respects, at least. The price. I mean, this guitar is a third the price of this one. The second thing is the neck shape. And of course, not all 70s are the same. Some of them I don't like as well, but this one has, just for me, a fabulous neck shape. So those two things right there, to me, would make the 70s the guitar that I would be more likely to play. To take out to gigs, to take to festivals, to do that sort of thing. This is a fabulous guitar. This is this particular one is the D-18 still, but this particular one in my hands here is definitely one of my favorite authentics that I've played. Something about the age. A lot of people don't like the aging process. To me, it makes me relax with the guitar. I know I'm not going to go like this and smack that microphone, and if I do, so what? It's a dent, it's a scratch. It's got scratches in it here and there. It's pre-aged, it's fake wear, but at the same time, it does, in fact, make me more comfortable with the guitar. Like I've said this before, but my D-18 37 Authentic is brand new. It's unblemished. Doesn't have a scratch on it. It's hard to do anything with it because it's like, it's going to get scratched. And so the age models take all that away. If you don't have that stigma in your head of putting the first scratch on, you're going to keep the guitar forever and ever. It's probably not a big deal to you. But I'm just saying, when I pick up an aged or a relic, it just makes me comfortable. And it's the same thing with the 70s, It's got wear and tear on it. The bridge is shifted. There's non-original stuff about it. And so when I pick it up, I'm just comfortable with it. Okay? Well, there you go. There's the differences between that 76 and this Edge, which we're using as a stand-in for an actual pre-war. It's not, of course, but it's definitely moving that direction. It's got the right stuff on it. Got all the right ingredients. It just needs, 60 years of age. And who knows how that'll be in 60 years. We'll have to see. But anyway, next comparison. Purpose of this comparison, here we have the mid-70s D-18 over here that has all of my modifications except for scalloped braces. And over here we have a stock 69 D-18 that has my nut, it has a fresh neck reset on it, it's got good frets, and it's got non-slotted ebony bridge pins, and other than that it's stock. But it has the stock bracing, stock ridge plate, big heavy Rotomatic tuners that I'm having trouble holding on to. So that's what this one's all about here. The purpose of this comparison is to show you how much difference the modifications made onto this guitar, because it formerly was pretty much this guitar. Yeah, there's a couple years difference, but it's only 5 years difference or so. And as old as these two guitars are, that's pretty insignificant. So, and this is a nice 69. This is a nice 69, which is why I have it. It's got a fabulous neck on it. So, but that's the purpose of this comparison, is to show you that this guitar used to be pretty much like this one, and now it's not. So, the differences that I hear playing them, the 69 is smooth and mellow, but it's almost at the verge of being muddy. It definitely does not have the note separation, to me, that this one has. The modified guitar, and those notes just punch out at you. Very, very separated notes, very punchy, very clear. This would be, if I still had it, the 1963 D-18 that I had would be an excellent comparison to this. And that really is the sound that I was going for on this guitar. I heard it and I said, gosh, that's got such a clear 60s sound. And the 63 that I sold was a really nice, clear, bright guitar, really clean sounding guitar. And that's what I thought this one sounded like. I heard that tone in this guitar, and that's what I went for. So that's what you're listening for. And again, this one is non-scalloped bracing. I suspected that the top would move as the bridge plate kicked in, because it's got a small maple bridge plate on it now. And you've got to give it time, to adapt to that. And when I was looking at it, I said, it's got just a hint of a belly here, and I bet you it's gonna open up and adapt to that bridge plate. And that was right, because as I was playing it here, the action has already gone up, which means that the top has come up a little bit and adjusted to it. In fact, it's come up enough that I'm not quite as comfortable with it as I was a couple of days ago. The 69 just plays like butter. It's got a fabulous neck on it. The action's low, and man, it's a butter guitar. And when I came over to this one, yeah, it felt stiff. And I had to actually record the Keep on the Sunny Side. I had to do that twice because I messed up the first time. I was thinking about the guitar setup. But that's okay, because it's got a lot of saddle on it. In fact, this is not even the final saddle. This is a bone saddle, but it's not the final saddle. It's got a ton of saddle on it right now. And I'm going to drop that just a little bit to get the action back down again, which I totally expected to do. It's one reason why I like to have the guitar for a week or 2 weeks after I'm done with it, because there's got to be some changes. The longer I have it, the better the setup is going to be. Guys will sometimes say, yeah, can you scallop my guitar this week? I've got to go to a festival next week. And forget it. It's not a cookie cutter operation for me. I want to get to know the guitar. And on this guitar particularly, I said we should wait on the scalloping. I don't mind scalloping it next year, after everything's had time to settle in and kick in and all that. You can send the guitar back to me and I'll scallop it then, no problem. But I don't want to do it right now on this guitar. Sometimes it's just instinct. Sometimes that's just my gut feel that we should wait on this one. Some of them I look at and I go, oh yeah, you got to scallop that. I had no hesitation on the the Sunburst 76. We're going to scallop it. But on this one, we're going to wait a little bit. So that's the purpose of this comparison. Now we're going to compare this to another one. We're going to compare it to a 65 D21. I'll talk about that one afterwards. Okay, purpose of this comparison, a little bit twofold. You've got your mid-70s D-18 over here that has all my modifications except for the scallop braces. You got a stock 65 D-21 over here. The two guitars are structurally the same. They both have non-scallop braces, small maple bridge plates. This one doesn't have a popsicle brace. This one does have a popsicle brace. This one's got a different truss rod in it. It's got a T-bar in it. This one's got the square tube, but the square tube's fine, you know. And they both got small tuners on them. You know, they're similar in this respect. What I wanted you to listen for on these two guitars is the sound of a bright, nasally, non-scalloped guitar. And you got a 65 D21 here, so obviously this is a standard, shall I say that, you know. This is the way Martin and God intended it to be right here in 1965. So this is an acceptable thing. That's what I'm getting at. This bright, nasally, tight, punchy, focused sound is an acceptable sound for a Martin guitar. And therefore, how does this compare to that? Not everyone wants or needs that big, loose, pre-war sound. Because if they did, this guitar wouldn't exist, you know. We would have modified them all by now, you know, or they would have never made in the first place. But so that's what I'm showing here. How two bright, punchy, nasally, focused guitars sound. Now, the second thing that you can pull out of this a little bit is the difference between the mahogany back and sides and the Brazilian rosewood. So, being that they're fairly similar guitars, is at least as similar as any two guitars are going to be, given their individual construction differences. What you can listen for in this comparison is the Brazilian sound versus the mahogany sound, and I think you can definitely hear that. You can hear the less sustain with the mahogany. It's just a punchy, quick attack. The Brazilian has got a lot more reverb sound to it. It's a little bit lusher, even though it's a non-scalloped guitar and it's tight and punchy and all that. It does have an inherent sustain to it that the mahogany just does not have. Neither good nor bad. It's just one of those things. In fact, in a bright nasally guitar, the sustain may be maybe less desirable. So anyway. That's the purpose of this comparison here. I know it's an apples and oranges thing, but that's kind of the point, is what's the difference between an apple and an orange? Not between two apples, or two apples of the same species from two different parts of the United States. That's not the point of this one. The point is, in fact, this is an apple and this is an orange. Okay? What are the similarities? What are the differences? So, all right, that should conclude our gigantic D-18 comparison for the day. Now I get to go edit all this and splice the pieces together. So it's been fun. I mean, man, these are all great guitars. They've all, like I've said before, they've all got their voice. They've all got their individual voice, and my job as a player is to listen for that voice and say, what does this guitar really get at? So Yeah, they're nice. I mean, all of them. It's hard to pick a favorite. Well, the Sunburst 76, my overall favorite. Not for the sound necessarily. The sound is great, but for the playability of it. The neck is fabulous. The feel of the guitar in my hands is just fabulous. I like it a lot. The others are no slouches. All three of these other ones here, the 69 is sitting here. 69, 65, 70, whatever it is. These three here all have good feels, but the 76 is got just that little extra something, which is so comfortable for me to play. I would also say though that when I retire and sell all my guitars, this 65 D-21 is probably one of the few that I'm going to keep. I'm only going to keep probably two dreadnoughts. I'm going to keep this 65 D-21. Partly because of the Brazilian, partly because of just the history that I have with this guitar, and I'm going to keep my modified 72, which would rank right there with the 76, you know. It'd be there. The 76 would win because it's Sunburst, and I'm a sucker for Sunburst. But my 72 over there, great neck, great sound. I'm going to keep the 72, I'm going to keep this one. So everything else gets sold eventually. All right, see you later.